Comparative education. This is the last video of this series of comparative education. In this video, also like previous, we will discuss some uh, MCQ on comparative education without any explanation in general. The first question of this series, this video, is which of the following best describes the concept of comparative education? Options: the study of the philosophy and aims of education in a single country, the comparative analysis of education system in two or more countries, the practice of implementing educational policies from one country to another, the historical development of education in different continents. Answer of this question is option B, that is the comparative analysis of education system in two or more countries. Next, what does comparative education aim to achieve? Option: understand and improve educational problems beyond one's own country, establish a uniform educational system worldwide, focus only on the theoretical aspects of education, implement the same curriculum across different countries. Answer of this question is option A, that is understand and improve educational problems beyond one's own country. Next, which perspective does not clarify the scope of comparative education? Options: subject matter and content, technological advancements, ideological scope, historical or spatial scope. Answer of this question is option B, that is technological advancement. Next, the thematic scope of comparative education includes options: detailed comparison of different educational ideologies, study of historical development of educational system, comparison of educational themes such as universal primary education, analysis of geographical units of study. Answer of this question is option C, that is comparison of educational theme such as universal primary education. Next, the main purpose of comparative education is to options: establish a global education system, conduct an analytical study on historical educational problem and solution, focus solely on the philosophical aspect of education, implement education policies from one country to another. Answer of this question is option B, that is conduct an analytical study of historical educational problems and solution. Next, what is a major reason for studying comparative education? Options: to create identical educational systems worldwide, to understand the educational institution and practices of one's own country, to eliminate cultural differences in education, to enforce a universal curriculum. Answer of this question is option B, that is to understand the educational institution and practices of one's own country. Next, which is not a purpose of comparative education? Options: perfect national system, establish uniform educational standard globally, modify education system based on local conditions, analyze and compare educational solution. Answer of this question is option B, that is establish uniform educational standard globally. Next, which of the following is a use of comparative education? Options: establishing a standardized global curriculum, facilitating educational assessment and evaluation, focusing only on national educational practices, restricting educational borrowing. Answer of this question is option B, that is facilitating educational assessment and evaluation. Next, comparative education helps in understanding the factors responsible for various educational changes by options: creating a unified global education policy, analyzing educational systems from different social, economic, and political contexts, ignoring historical perspectives, standardizing teaching methods worldwide. Answer of this question is option B, that is analyzing educational system from different social, economic, and political context. Next, which is a use of comparative education? Options: limiting educational reforms to one country, facilitating educational planning by evaluating other countries' system, promoting identical educational system globally, ignoring technological advancement in education. Answer of this question is option B, that is facilitating educational planning by evaluating other countries' systems. Next, comparative education is defined as options: the study of the education system in a single country, a critical study of educational similarities and differences within or among various societies and cultures, an attempt to implement identical educational policies worldwide, a focus on historical development of educational systems. Answer of this question is option B, that is a critical study of educational similarities and differences within or among various societies and cultures. Next, Isaac Candles emphasized the comparative education should not only focus on educational setup but also options implement the same educational practices globally, analyze the causes behind educational problems, and attempted solution in light of social, political, cultural, and national ideologies, standardize curriculum across different countries, ignoring the historical context of educational systems. Answer of this question is option B, that is analyzing the causes behind educational problems and attempted solution in light of social, political, cultural, and national ideologies. Next, a field that focuses on the development of education in a single country. Options: a fully established academic field that examines education in one country using data and insight from another country. The practice of adopting educational policies without comparison. The study of educational systems from a single cultural perspective. Answer of this question is option B, that is a fully established academic field and examines education in one country using data and insight from another country. Next, the ideological scope of comparative education involves options: a comparison of educational systems based on geographical unit, a detailed comparison of different educational systems on the basis of social, economic, and political ideologies, a focus on technological advancements in education, a study of historical educational development only. Answer of this question is option B, that is a detailed comparison of different educational system on the basis of social, economic, and political ideologies. Next, which of the following is a part of the subject matter and content scope of comparative education? Options: analysis of technological innovation in education, study of the structures, aims, goal, curriculums, and policies of educational systems, comparison of geographical units of study, evaluation of international educational standards. Answer of this question is option B, that is study of the structure, aims, goals, curriculum, and policies of educational systems. Next, the historical and spatial scope of comparative education deals with options: the comparison of current educational theories, the study of historical development of educational systems from the earliest phase to the modern phase, the analysis of educational systems based on social ideologies, the implementation of standardized educational policies. Answer of this question is option B, that is the study of historical development of educational system from the earliest phase to the modern phase. Next, which of the following is not the purpose of comparative education? Options: to become familiar with educational practices in other countries, to enforce a global education curriculum, to perfect national education system with modification based on local conditions, to conduct an analytical study of educational problems from a historical perspective. Answer of this question is option B, that is to enforce a global education curriculum. Next, one of the purposes of comparative education is to options: establish a global standard for education, analyze the solution to educational problems in different historical contexts, implement the same educational policies worldwide, focus only on the cultural aspect of education. Answer of this question is option B, that is analyze the solution to educational problems in different historical contexts. Next, which statement reflects purpose of comparative education? Options: to create a single global education system, to adopt national education system with necessary modifications based on local circumstances, to ignore historical and cultural context in education, to promote identical educational practices in all countries. Answer of this question is option B, that is to adopt national education system with necessary modification based on local circumstances. Next, comparative education facilitates educational planning by options: establishing a uniform educational system globally, providing case studies on various educational systems, to helping formulate policies, ignoring the local condition of education, restricting educational reform to a single country. Answer of this question is option B, that is providing case studies on various educational systems to help in formulating policies. Next, which of the following is a use of comparative education? Options: standardizing educational methods globally, facilitating educational borrowing to solve educational problems, ignoring the differences in educational systems, promoting identical educational practices worldwide. Answer of this question is option B, that is facilitating educational borrowing to solve educational problem. How does comparative education contribute to the evaluation of educational outcomes? Options: by standardizing the curriculum across different countries, by showing how educational performance in a country compares to others, by ignoring national examinations, by establishing a single global education standard. Answer of this question is option B, that is by showing how educational performance in a country compared to others. Next, which of the following is not a reason for studying comparative education? Options: to assist in understanding one's own educational practices, to enforce a global education curriculum, to educate about procedure of educational changes, to promote international relationships. Answer of this question is option B, that is to enforce a global educational curriculum. Next, comparative education assists in solving educational problems by options: implementing identical solution globally, analyzing and borrowing successful educational practices from other countries, ignoring the specific needs of global education systems, establishing a standardized educational system. Answer of this question is option B, that is analyzing and borrowing successful educational practices from other countries. Next, what is the significance of educational borrowing in comparative education? Options: to create identical educational system in different countries, to obtain solution to educational problems by adopting successful practices from other countries, to ignore the differences in educational philosophies, to standardize the educational curriculum worldwide. Answer of this question is option B, that is to obtain solution to educational problems by adopting successful practices from other countries. Next, which factor is not one of the three groups of factors influencing educational development? Options: natural factors, technological factors, religious factors, secular factors. Answer of this question is option B, that is technological factors. Next, what is the primary goal of comparative education? Option: to standardize educational system worldwide, to understand and improve educational practices by comparing different countries, to promote a single global curriculum, to eliminate cultural differences in education. Answer of this question is option B, that is to understand and improve educational practices by comparing different countries. Next, which of the following is not a focus of comparative education? Options: comparing educational policies and curricula, promoting global citizenship, implementing identical educational system globally, analyzing the social, cultural, economic and political context of education. Answer of this question is option C, that is implementing identical educational system globally. What does comparative education seek to understand? Options: to the universal application of a single educational system, the similarities and differences among educational systems, the financial aspects of education only, the elimination of educational disparities. Answer of this question is option B, that is the similarities and differences among educational systems. One defined who defined comparative education as an intersection of social sciences, education, and cross-national study. Option: Marc-Antoine Julien de Paris, who is the father of comparative education. No and Eric Eckstein, Harold No, W.H. Kilpatrick. Answer of this question is option B, that is B, No, and Eckstein. Next, which aspect is not considered a part of the scope of comparative education? Option: educational psychology, ideological scopes, thematic scope, financial analysis of education. Answer of this question is option D, that is financial analysis of education. What is the importance of understanding the historical development of educational systems in comparative education? Options: to implement historical educational practices today, to analyze the evolution and impact of educational reforms, to discard past educational practices, to create a unified global educational history. Answer of this question is option B, that is to analyze the evolution and impact of educational reforms. Next, what is the main purpose of comparative education? Option: to create identical educational system worldwide, to compare educational problems and solutions historically, to focus only on modern educational practices, to promote cultural uniformity in education. Next, answer of this question is option B, that is to compare educational problems and solution historically. Next question: what did Marc Antoine Julien de Paris identify as a purpose of comparative education? Options: to maintain traditional educational method, to perfect national system with modification based on local conditions, to standardize education globally, to focus only on European educational system. Answer of this question is option B, that is to perfect national system with modification based on local conditions. Which is not a reason for studying comparative education? Options: to assist in solving educational problems, to develop global citizenship, to eliminate cultural differences in education, to contribute to the development of educational policies? Answer of this question is option C, that is to eliminate cultural differences in education. Next, what does the ideological scope in comparative education compare? Options: different educational methods, educational system based on political, social, and economic ideologies, financial aspect of educational systems, historical development of education. Answer of this question is option B, that is educational systems based on political, social, and economic ideologies. Why is the study of environmental education includes the scope of education? Options: to focus solely on technological advancements due to ecological imbalance drawing attention today, to promote global educational uniformity, to disregard traditional educational methods. Answer of this question is option B, that is due to ecological imbalances drawing attention today. Which of the following is a benefit of comparing educational systems? Options: to establish universal educational practices, to highlight relationships between education and society, to eliminate national education system, to focus only on primary education. Answer of this question is option B, that is to highlight relationship between education and society. Next, which what does comparative education use to test propositions about education and society? Options: local educational data, cross-national data, historical educational methods, standardized global curricula. Answer of this question is option B, that is cross-national data. Which of the following best describes the thematic scope in comparative education? Option: focuses on comparing historical educational practices, examines educational themes and topical issues across geographical units, studies only the financial aspects of education, promotes identical teaching methods worldwide. Answer of this question is option B, that is examines educational themes and topical issue across geographical units. Next, which of the following best defines comparative education? Options: the study of educational practices within a single country, the analysis of educational theories across various academic disciplines, the comparative study of educational theories and practices in various countries, the study of educational method in ancient times. Answer of this question is option C, that is the comparative study of educational theory and practices in various countries. What is a common emphasis in most definition in comparative education? Options: the historical development of educational system, the use of data from another educational system, the philosophical foundation of education, the financial aspect of education. Answer of this question is option B, that is the use of data from another educational system. What is comparative education? Options: a collection of data and perspectives from social sciences applied to education in different countries, a method of teaching unique to one country, a historical study of educational system, a focus on environmental education. Answer of this question is option A, that is a collection of data and perspective from social sciences applied to education in different countries. Next, which of the following is a primary purpose of comparative education? Options: to compare educational theories, to compare educational problems and solution with a view to improving one's own educational practices, to study ancient educational practices, to promote environmental education. Answer of this question is option B, that is to compare educational problems and solution with a view to improving one's own educational practices. Next, why is it important to study comparative education? Options: to discover differences in educational systems and understand the factors causing those differences, to focus solely on educational systems within one country, to develop new educational theories, to eliminate cultural differences in education. Answer of this question is option A, that is to discover differences in educational system and understand the factors causing those differences. Next, what is one reason for studying comparative education? Option to limit educational practices to a single country, to enhance international relationship and understanding, to focus exclusively on technical education, to standardize educational practices globally. Answer of this question is option B, that is to enhance international relationship and understanding. Next, which of the following captures the ideological scope of comparative education? Option comparing countries' educational systems based on different political, social, and economic ideologies. Study the technological aspect of education, focusing only on historical educational practices, analyzing the environmental impact on education. Answer of this question is option A, that is comparing countries' educational systems based on different political, social, and economic ideologies. Next, what does thematic scope of comparative education focus on? Option historical educational systems, tropical educational issues, or problem within one or more geographical unit, the financial aspect of education, teaching methods in ancient times. Answer of this question is option B, that is tropical educational issues or problems within one or more geographical units. Which of the following is a part of the historical and spatial scope of comparative education? Option the study of development of discipline from prehistoric to modern phases, the focus on current educational technologies, the study of environmental education, the focus on financial education. Answer of this question is option A, that is the study of the development of the discipline from prehistoric to modern phase. Next, which of the following is an objective of comparative education? Option to develop new theories in environmental education, to describe educational system. I think this question we already covered, so I am skipping this one. What is one of the important reason for studying comparative education? I think this is also covered, but the answer of this question is to assist in solving educational problem by learning from other countries' experiences. Which of the following countries has oldest formal teacher education system? This is already we discussed in other videos. The answer of this question is option B, that is UK. What is key use of comparative education? Option to ignore international educational trend, to promote educational reform by identifying successful model from different countries, to standardize educational system worldwide, to eliminate local educational practices. Answer of this question is option B, that is to promote educational reform by identifying successful models from different countries. Which definition of comparative education emphasizes its analytical and historical perspective on educational development across different countries? Option a study of two or more education system, a study of how development of education in past across the ages and continents has influenced the development of education in particular countries, a study of the school system of two or more countries, a comparison of current educational theory and practices in different countries. Answer of this question is option B, that is a study of how the development of education in the past across the ages and continents has influenced the development of education in particular countries. What is the primary purpose of comparative education? Option to compare educational philosophies only, to broaden and deepen understanding of educational problem beyond one's own country, to study ancient educational practices, to develop new educational technologies. Answer of this question is option B, that is to broaden and deepen understanding of educational problems beyond one's own country. What is one of the key reasons for studying comparative education? Options: to develop new theories in educational finance, to understand educational changes and improve one's own educational practices, to standardize educational system globally, to study ancient educational systems. Answer of this question is option B, that is to understand educational changes and improve one's own educational practices. What is necessary for students in educational issue? Options: to study on local educational practices, to become familiar with what is being done in other countries and why it is done, to focus solely on educational technology, to ignore international educational trends. Answer of this question is option B, that is to become familiar with what is being done in other countries and why it is done. Which of the following is not a reason for studying comparative education? Option: to contribute to the formulation of a country's educational system, to enhance financial aspect of education, to promote international relationship, to assist in solving one's own educational problems. Answer of this question option B, that is to enhance the financial aspect of education. Which subject is not typically included in the scope of comparative education? History of education, environmental sciences, sociology of education, political science. Answer of this question is option B, that is environmental science. Which of the following best describes the thematic scope of comparative education? Option: the comparison of ancient educational practices, topical educational issues or problems within one or more geographical unit, financial aspect of education, technological advancement in education. Answer of this question is option B, that is tropical educational issues or problems within one or more geographical units. What is the main purpose of comparative education? Options: to analyze financial aspects of education, to analyze educational problems and solutions from a historical perspective, to develop new educational technologies, to focus exclusively on cultural aspects of education. Answer of this question is option B, that is to analyze educational problems and solution from a historical perspective. Which of the following is a key objective of comparative education? Option: to standardize global educational practices, to enhance understanding of educational systems and process in different countries, to eliminate cultural differences in education, to develop new financial models for education. Answer of this question is option B, that is to enhance understanding of educational systems and process in different countries.